To my teleprompter now, I like to tell you that I do not want to read the lines of where you tell me to go. Check, 1, 2, light, camera, action. I just want to take the newspaper headline this morning. So thank you to Kelvin for doing a great job. Now let's look at the papers this morning. The Guardian newspaper is what we're starting with. Starting strong, right? The front page of the Guardian newspaper reads, Opposition flays Tinubu's focus on re-election, loses confidence in INEC. That's the major story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. It's on page 6 of the Guardian with the pictures of President Bola Tinubu, the ADC presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, INEC chairman Josh Amopito, and of course the NDC presidential candidate Peter Obi, and the SDP presidential candidate Adeoye. It's on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. But still on the front page now, xenophobia. Lesotho woos Nigerians as federal government South Africa resume talks. That's on page 4 of the Guardian. You want to find out why Lesotho is wooing Nigeria, then grab a copy of the Guardian. U.S. to stop visa processing at Abuja embassy. 24 other African missions is on page 4 of the Guardian as well, just above the major story of the Guardian. Atiku accuses Tinubu of fiscal recklessness, fault on 112.62 trillion naira borrowing. Also on page 3 of the Guardian. Brent crude nears $90 per barrel as diesel depot prices jump to 1,670 naira per liter back here in Nigeria. How Nigeria secured $30 billion Paris Club debt relief. This is coming from Okonjo Iweala. You want to find out more? It's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Oshun, Amopito meets stakeholders amid tension. It's on page 5. I mean, that happened yesterday. All of the political parties involved running to get into office were present as Amopito meets stakeholders amid tension. It's on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. High interest rates unsettling Nigeria hit 20-year high, says Oxford Economics. It's on the business side of the Guardian newspaper and can be found on page 15 of the Guardian. PFIPC scandal. Here we go. More concerns as HOS admits lapses in vetting process. And of course, it's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Another picture on the front page of the Guardian, we have the Executive Chairman, Nigeria Revenue Service, as the NRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji. To the left, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN now, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, Mrs. Hafsat Abubakar Bakari, and National Security Advisor, NSA, Malam Nuhu Rubadu, at the maiden meeting of the Virtual Assets Council, VAC, at the CBN head office yesterday, following the executive order by the President Bola Tinubu. Northern senators back Tinubu's military expansion after Benue Kaduna massacres. It's on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper.
Leading story on Nigerian Tribune this morning is a story emanating from Osun State. And it says tension in Osun as police arrest SSG and 5 others. It has the riders announced recovery of 4.8 million naira voters register. And Adeleke's campaign cancelled, raises concerns over arrest ahead of poll. Stakeholders reject police commissioner at meeting, demands his redeployment. And this isn't the first time this is happening. INEC assures of credible poll, deploys 4,427 beavers, extends PVC collection. The governor had announced a public holiday on Tuesday, but it appears that INEC has also extended the time for PVC collection. If you could just give you a little bit of detail as to what is happening in Osun State. Operatives of the Osun State Police Command have arrested the SSG, that's the Secretary to the State Government, Igbalaye Teslim, and 5 others with 4.8 million naira in cash and election materials recovered during a raid on the SSG's residence in Oroki Estate, Oshogbo, and during During the raid, police arrested a suspected gang leader, Abiodun Arowomole, popularly known as Ashipa, who has been on the command's watch list for alleged murder and other offenses. 4 other people were arrested as well. 4.8 million naira in cash was found with them. 1 laptop, 1 photocopy machine, 1 printer, 2 voters' cards, and a voter register covering words 1 to 15. We understand the exhibits have been secured for forensic examination and further investigation. The top strip of the Nigerian Tribune has the following headlines. Atiku tackles Tinubu for exceeding 2024 borrowing limit by 4.79 trillion. You heard that on the news as well. Plot to remove me is about 2027, not on performance. This is coming from the Ondo speaker. Lawmakers allege misconduct as reason for planned removal. So whose version or whose gospel are we going to believe? The gospel according to the speaker saying the plot to remove him is about 2027, or the gospel according to the lawmakers who are saying that planned removal is courtesy of a misconduct? That is the reason. Well, there's more details on page 15. And if you take a trip to page 28 of the Nigerian Tribune, you're going to find the story that says PFIPC, IGP asks Reps panel to obtain warrant for police to produce Adeyemi reproduction warrant, if I could remember correctly, some of the details from that particular engagement. Head of service admits administrative lapses. All right. We also have first quarter of 2026. Southwest tops in petrol, diesel, cooking and gas consumption. The Chief of Army Staff appoints GOCs for new Army divisions as operations begin. Well, some hot update there with regards to security in the nation. Nigeria to end visa amnesty by July 31st. U.S. warns citizens of fines and re-entry ban. An interesting development where the DSS has arraigned 2 Ansaru commanders and 3 others over Orire abduction and killings. That is also a headline that's captured on the Nigerian Tribune. Suspects plead not guilty. Arraigns man for allegedly raising funds for ISWAP and Boko Haram. Court varies bail conditions for Miyetti Allah, president. That's Bodejo. You could see the picture of Zach Adedeji, executive chairman of the NRS, Mr. Alaimi Kadoso, chairman, governor rather, of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mrs. Hafsat Abubakar, she's the chief executive officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, and of course, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, at the maiden meeting of the Virtual Asset Council. Well, what's that all about? You might want to grab yourself off the Nigerian Tribune for more on that particular story. But that's all we have for you on the Tribune this morning.
We'll move it over to the Vanguard newspaper now. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, it reads, PFIPC, we failed due diligence on recruitment waiver. That is according to the HCSF. Now, that story can be found on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper, with the following writer says in almost 100 years of federal civil service, situation as this has never happened. Accountant General's office admits lapses, blames individual officer for letter diversion. Why we failed to produce Adeyemi, that is according to the IGP. Any of these stories interest you? Let us know your thoughts. 09062029933. We failed due diligence on recruitment waiver. Now, head of the Civil Service of the Federation, that's the HCSF, Mrs. Esther Didi Wilson-Jack, yesterday admitted before the House of Rep ad hoc committee investigating alleged creation of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council and the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, PFIPC, without legal backing, that our office failed to carry out adequate due diligence before issuing key approval. She is admitting and saying that this is probably an oversight as well. This is even as the committee said it uncovered what it described as a web of forged documents used to secure government approvals. Appearing before the committee, Wilson-Jack acknowledged that her office relied on documents later discovered to be fake in granting authorized recruitment waiver to the purported agency. The head of service explained that officials of the purported agency presented themselves as representative of a newly established federal body during the 2025 annual manpower budget defense, accompanied by what appeared to be an establishment act and a letter appointing a director general. According to her, under established civil service procedure, newly created agencies seeking to recruit staff are expected to present an enabling act, the appointment letter of the chief executive, and other supporting documents before an authorized establishment and provisional recruitment waiver are issued. She said, "We process requests based on documents presented." Now, her words. She said that her office processed the request based on the document presented, noting that the case was unprecedented. All of these were reeled out yesterday at the committee where this investigation is still ongoing. That's a major story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. But still on the Vanguard, top page, that's above the nameplate now, Dangote refinery critical to Nigeria's $1 trillion economy vision. That's on from the federal government on page 20. Infrastructure, Wike's delivery in Rivers, Abuja template for leaders. Wike's delivery in Rivers, Abuja template for leaders. That statement is coming from Okotiebo. It's on page 15 of the Vanguard. U.S. to end visa service in Abuja, 24 others African post August 1st. Page 8. COAS names GOCs for newly established Army divisions is on page 9 of the Vanguard. Nigerians should feel dividends of reform, Okonjo-Iweala says. She says federal government must add value to critical minerals before export. Africa must move beyond tech consumption, eliminate barriers. That's Cardoso. Oshun governorship poll. Police nab SSG. 5 others over alleged vote buying is on page 13. Mob killing. We beat Unijust students to recover missing phone. Suspect says. We had a story yesterday, and from a very close friend of hers, she did say at the time we had that interview, the phone hasn't been found. But the suspect here on the paper is saying we beat Unijust students to recover missing phone. By the way, that student has now been declared dead. It's on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. Disease to be buried in Bornu today. TED Fund cracks down on abandoned projects. Bars defaulting institutions from 2027 funding is on page 32 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let us know your thoughts on any of the stories of the front page of the newspaper. Which of the stories are you running with? PFIPC, we failed due diligence on recruitment waiver. That story has made it across all papers today. That is coming in from the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, led by Mrs. Esther Didi Wolsey-Jack.
Let's take a quick glance at what we have. On the Nigerian Telegraph, we basically captured most of the major headlines on the papers this morning. Just a quick look at the Nigerian Telegraph to see if there are some of the headlines we haven't touched on that you can also air your view on this morning. On the Nigerian Telegraph, we have the New Telegraph. Essay to Tinubu, blame Igbo King, arrest of 500 criminal Nigerians for xenophobic attacks. Outlines 3 specific areas of concern that heightened recent tensions. Brain drain, over 16,000 medical doctors left for greener pastures in 6 years. This is coming from the Nigerian Medical Association. Create more jobs for Nigerian youth, Okonjo-Iweala urges federal government. Fight to finish comment. Fight terrorists, not opposition. ADC tells Tinubu. We're replying the president there on some of the comments that he made, saying the opposition is crying wolf and that he's not backing down for anybody. He's ready to fight to the finish. Why we can't probe fake DG for reps probe IGP. Tension mass stakeholders forum. INEC extends PVC collection. And that's coming off the back of preparations to the Oshun gubernatorial elections. Let's get back to the phone line now and take your comments to any of these headlines. 0906 202 9933. And we did also have the story on the DSS arraigning 5 men over their alleged complicity in the May 15 kidnapping of pupils and teachers in the Orire local government area of Oyo State and the subsequent killing of 2 of the victims. They were arraigned yesterday before a federal high court sitting in Abuja and said to be members of the Jama'atu Ansaru Muslimina fi Baladis Sudan, which of course is shortened to Ansaru terrorist group. And their names will have Mahmoud Mohammed, Abubakar Abbas, Abdurazak Umar, Yunusa Musa, and Shamsu Adamu Sani. In one count of the charge, Mohammed and Abbas were accused of ordering their foot soldiers in the Ansaru terrorist group, including Umar, Musa, and Sani, to, in the event of their arrest, kidnap people and kill them in all parts of the country to compel the government to accede to their demands. Well, you can see the weight of this particular story. It's actually a very delicate one of national security, and that's why a lot of attention is being paid to how these terrorists are being prosecuted.
Indeed, and still on the papers this morning, we have the reports that police detain Oshun SSG and 5 others. Now, the operative of the Osun State Police Command have arrested the secretary to the state government SSG, Igbalaye Taslim, and 5 others, saying that they recovered about 4.8 million naira in cash and election materials during a raid on the SSG's residence in Iroki Estate in Osogbo. Now, the command, in a press statement signed by DSP Abiodun Ojelabi, said the operation followed credible intelligence that a criminal gang was hibernating around the area. Now, during the raid, police arrested the suspected gang leader, Abiodun, popularly known as Ashikpa, who has been in the command's watch list for alleged murder and other offenses. Also arrested were Honorable Igbalaye Taslim and others. Now, the Oshun state is saying, is on the matter currently to say why this arrest and all of this allegation of monies. But that story is also on the front page of the newspaper this morning.